And what's going on, Yo Bro Nation? Welcome back to the channel. I am Zach, your host, here on the Yo Bro Nation YouTube channel. And this is the best of the best countdown, episode number 14. And today we are talking the top 10 Elimination Chamber matches. Of course, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view to be later on this month. So we're going to talk about those chamber matches. How is everyone doing here today? Happy Friday. Happy February. We've made it through the first month of 2021. How is everybody doing? My hair's a mess. I think it's time for another haircut. But yeah, here we are. Another awesome video, right? Another awesome video. But I wanted to touch on a couple pieces of news that I wanted to go ahead, or not news, more just some house cleaning. If you are new to this news, perhaps I should do a take two. I don't know. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And if you want to hit the like button, share this video with your friends and tell them to come on over and meet Papa Zach here on the channel. Also, you guys can go to our Twitter and our Facebook, both at Yo Bro Nation. Those are linked down in the description below. So I have a friend who comes in on this channel every once in a while. You guys might know him. His name is Jake. He's a cool dude, cool cat. He comes on here a lot and he helps us out. Well, let's help him out. If you are perhaps in the Georgia, Florida area and you know a booker, or perhaps you're in the wrestling business yourself, good news, the Champ is taking bookings. The Hitman, Jake Capone. You guys can go get him. He's now taking bookings. He's back. He's working the circuits once again. You can reach him at Instagram or Facebook at the Jake Capone, or email him directly at the Hitman Jake Capone at gmail.com. Get the Hitman. He's gonna come for you. Go help support Jake. You guys go to his Facebook, his Twitter, and his YouTube channel. All that stuff's linked down in the description below as well. So let's go ahead. Let's jump into this list. Let's talk about the Elimination Chamber and all the things that has happened in it. There's been a lot of Elimination Chamber matches, some better than others. Some where the matches were overall really, really good, but the endings weren't right. I just couldn't put them on the list. I couldn't justify it in my own head. My qualifications: did I enjoy the match? Was the match quality good? And was the ending good? That's where I look at these. That is my main criteria. I don't even care who was in these matches. Obviously, I'm looking at matches where the, superstars in the match, it was a strength. I'm looking at that more so than anything. But I do have one honorable mention today. I have one honorable mention. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get that one out of the way before I jump into the rest of these. Excuse me. A little heartburn today. So let's go ahead. Let's just jump in on my first honorable mention. But firstly, the Elimination Chamber, this is a match started in 2002. It was, Raw's response to the Hell in a Cell match from No Mercy with Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Possibly the best ever Hell in a Cell match, in some people's opinions. At least one of the top 2 or 3, top 5, perhaps. So we get this match, and Triple H, the story goes that initially Triple H wanted to do a War Games match. That's what he brought to creative. Hey, for this year's Survivor Series in Madison Square Garden, let's do War Games, But creative, declined and decided that that's not what they wanted to do. And, it's cool, right? So they opted to do this whole Elimination Chamber thing, which it cost them a lot of money to make. But that initial match was fantastic, right? And that's, over the years, I feel like it's been more and more desaturated, more and more overbooked, to a point where, we have a pay-per-view every month called Elimination Chamber. But somehow that chamber works out where it is, right? It kind of works where it is, especially when you're on the road to Mania. You need to decide a champion, or need maybe to decide the champion. Either way, it kind of works, right? Where it's at, it kind of works out for everybody for that match to be a part of the show. So, it's not all bad that we have this match. But let's see. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into my honorable mention. And the first thing I want to talk about is the 2012 Elimination Chamber for the World Heavyweight Championship. A match in which Daniel Bryan defended his World Heavyweight Championship against Wade Barrett, Cody Rhodes, The Big Show, The Great Khali, and Santino Marella. Santino Marella is a very interesting character, right? I would say so. He, at the 2011 Royal Rumble, thought he almost won it, came really, really close. People were excited. Santino was a character that I think a lot of people kind of enjoyed, right? You had Big Show, who was considered a credible challenger. The Khali, who at this time was kind of on the decline, but was still getting thrown into big matches like this. And then you had Cody on the up and coming, who a lot of people thought maybe he could have won this match. And then you had Daniel Bryan, who had just cashed in a couple months prior. It was in one of the two chamber matches that night. And this match was much better than the Raw chamber match, in my opinion. I don't think this was quite good enough to make the top 10 because basically just based upon who was in it alone, it's like, maybe not that great. But Daniel Bryan, defending the title, really good, hard-hitting match. And the main reason I threw this on here was that ending where it came down to Santino and it came down to Daniel Bryan. And for a moment, people thought Santino was going to beat Daniel Bryan, who was hot as shit at this time. But he did manage to retain the championship inside the chamber. And then would go on to WrestleMania to lose the title in 18 seconds to Sheamus. So there you go. That's what you got. But this, I believe, was the show closer. Yeah, this was the show closer that night, if I remember right. So it was a good match, an enjoyable match. So there you go. But let's move on to the actual list. I probably won't take a lot of time to really delve into these. I'm just more or less giving my list, my overall thoughts. I'm not breaking these matches down in detail. Just my overall thoughts of each match and what I thought was high points, maybe. But number 10... let's talk about it. Number 10, No Way Out 2008. Elimination Chamber for a shot at a match at WrestleMania 24. Triple H, Jeff Hardy, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, Umaga, and JBL competing. This was in Las Vegas. It was one of two matchups that night. Both matches for the opportunity. Of course, John Cena, who won the Royal Rumble that January, opted to take his title opportunity at No Way Out. So Raw decided and SmackDown decided, let's set up these matchups so we can see who's going to face our champions. And that's what I'm talking about with these chambers. They, at the time, No Way Out, which I think they should go back to the No Way Out pay-per-view and make those with the chamber matchups, but that's just me. I think, this was the perfect example of why these matchups were so important going into WrestleMania. You don't have, challengers, so you take 6 of your best. And granted, let me look at these names again, right? Jeff Hardy, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, Umaga, and JBL. JBL and Umaga probably being the weakest of the participants in this, but at least on that Raw side of matches, that is like top 10 contenders, right? You throw them in there. The match, obviously, it came down to Triple H and Jeff Hardy, but you could have looked at Chris Jericho. He could have won. And it was another match where these guys went in there, especially Triple H and Jeff. Jeff was, just had a title opportunity at the Rumble. he was that close. He was the Intercontinental Champion. Jericho had just come back. There was a lot of stories going in this. Jericho, I believed, was already heel or was about to be a heel. He was in the process of turning heel. JBL and him were still in their feud, and Umaga was just like this indestructible force. But it was a fucking good match. You're gonna hear me say that a lot. It was a damn good match. Yeah, it was a good match, and again, it was a good example of what made these matches kind of good, at least at this point in time, because I think this is the first year that they used the chambers. Yeah, this was the first year that they actually used the chambers as a means to, hey, let's use these to push the narrative for WrestleMania forward, and let's figure out who's facing our champions. And I thought it was great, and it's something that stuck, and at points it really isn't that good, but this, at least in this point, it was a good call. It was a good call. Speaking of that year's No Way Out, let's go to number 9, and number 9 is No Way Out 2008 with the SmackDown Elimination Chamber for our match against the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania 24. And in this match, the field, again, pretty good. The Undertaker, Batista, Finlay, MVP, and then you got the Great Khali, and then you got Big Daddy V. This being Khali's second Elimination Chamber match, Big Daddy V's first, MVP's first, Batista's first, Finlay's first, and I'm pretty sure this was Undertaker's first Elimination Chamber match. This match, yes, I think was probably lesser in star quality, but if you look at the way the match finished, you look at where Batista was, you look at where Undertaker was, and their status, they were the biggest stars of both of these chamber matches, in my opinion. I think the finish of this one was better than the one at number 10. I think, especially when you look at Taker went on to face Edge in the main event of WrestleMania that year. Triple H went on to face, Randy Orton in a triple threat match with John Cena, who had already gave up his title opportunity. So I think if you look at just where Undertaker went after this, winning this chamber match, it was just better. He went to the main event of WrestleMania, and it was another match with 6 guys, who did well. Khali, I think the weaker of all of them, kind of a waste, but Big Daddy V did decently in this match. Finlay, that man, you could throw him in anything, and he just looks good. And he definitely looked good in this match particularly. I actually haven't watched this since it aired. I kind of feel like I should have rewatched it just to kind of refresh my memory. But from what I remember, I enjoyed the match. That was the problem, though, when you had 2 chambers every show. Or, God, what was it? A couple years ago, we had 3-4 chamber matches in one night. It has become overkill, but nonetheless, enjoyable. So let's move on to number 8. Like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Number 8. And this, yes, you are definitely oversaturated with these Elimination Chamber matchups for sure nowadays. But this was definitely one worth seeing in the 2019 Elimination Chamber pay-per-view for a match to crown the initial women's tag team champions. It was a damn good match. The participants, let's go ahead and talk about that. You had Bayley and Sasha defeating Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, Fire and Desire. Nia Jax and Tamina, Thanks for Coming. The Riot Squad, which was Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan at that time. The Iconics and Naomi and Carmella. Now, this match, I give these women such a... what's the word I'm looking for? I have to give them a big vote of confidence because I think a lot of people undersold what this match was. Yeah, it wasn't like a 5-star chamber match, but these are women who, for the most part, all of them, I think there's an exception of one or two who had never been. I think Ruby Riott had been in the 1 year before. Maybe Liv Morgan. But you had most of these women had never been in an Elimination Chamber match before, going into it for the first time. Only the second women's match inside a chamber. And I think they delivered. These women, despite what we as fans feel, about those women's tag team titles, how we feel like they're useless and just kind of undersold, but you could say that about the men's tag team titles as well. These women believed in those championships, especially when you look at Sasha and Bayley. They legitimately fought for these for years. And they finally got the opportunity to have it as a match. And I think putting those women in the chamber to go for this, I think was good. Yeah, you probably could have gone the route of a tournament, which probably would have been better. Finals at WrestleMania, something like that. But I think giving all these women opportunities was good. That's just me. I didn't hate the match. I may have reviewed the match and been like, meh. I missed most of the match initially watching it because my internet cut out or something like that. I can't remember now, but it was a good match. Sasha, all these women, they took the hard bumps. They used the chain, to their advantage. There's a spot where you see Sasha and Bayley both being worked over by the Riot Squad with their faces crammed against the mesh of the cage. These women sold their asses off. Sure, there were some teams from the SmackDown side that just got thrown in and thrown together, like Carmella and Naomi. They were a team for this, and they were never a team again. There's barely been a division around these women for these titles, but at least in this moment, it was a good, happy moment. You finally got to see the women get an extra title to fight for, and I personally enjoyed it. So I put it on the list. This will probably be one that most people will disagree with me, and that's okay. But I'm going to move on to number 7. And number 7, bear with me, Elimination Chamber 2017 for the WWE Championship. This one was significant for a few reasons. But you had John Cena defending that championship against AJ Styles, The Miz, former champion Dean Ambrose, Baron Corbin, and eventual winner Bray Wyatt. Now, everybody knows Bray Wyatt was never used the right way in WWE and still hasn't been. There was a period of time he became the Fiend and it worked out. It was awesome. But on this night, prior to all this stuff with the Fiend, on this night, we all got to celebrate Bray Wyatt finally being given something for his work when he was crowned WWE Champion. What made this match so significant? Why did I put it on here? It wasn't the best chamber match. In fact, the field wasn't even that great. But look at who the final few participants were. Yeah, Dean Ambrose was put out early. He got taken out. Baron Corbin was out pretty quick. Miz put on a hell of a show. But your final 3 were AJ Styles, John Cena, the champion, and Bray Wyatt. Now, you obviously, if you were me, even in your predictions, I predicted John Cena to go on to WrestleMania with said title. He just took the title off of AJ Styles, 3 weeks prior to this at the Royal Rumble, a fucking 5-star classic. I'm going to have to talk about best title matches ever, but 5-star classic. In my opinion, I say that a lot, in my opinion. So there was no way John Cena's going away. And then Cena was eliminated by Bray Wyatt. Could have been AJ Styles, but I'm pretty sure it was Bray Wyatt. And then you're like, oh my God, they're going to give the title back to AJ Styles. He's going to go back to WrestleMania. No one would have gave Bray Wyatt an opportunity. And I'm sure there was someone out there who was like, no, I picked him. I didn't pick Bray Wyatt. And then it happened. He won. He won the championship. And I would have put this higher. I would have. But it's then what happened afterwards. Afterwards, he lost the title to Randy Orton at WrestleMania just a couple months later. And it kind of made the whole thing feel like it was for nothing. just to put the belt on Randy because they didn't want to do another Randy Cena match. And then the story to get there was interesting, right? Randy Orton burning down the Wyatt compound. Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brody Lee, rest in peace. You know, his involvement in it, which turned out to just be temporary. You know, Randy giving up his title. It was a convoluted mess to get there, but it was interesting at the same time, especially with Luke Harper being involved. But for that moment, that chamber match, Bray Wyatt was the man. And he was the heel, but the ovation he got when he won was... Gosh, fuck. I'm going to go rewatch that after I'm done recording this. It was epic for that period of time. It was. It was epic for that point. Let's move on to number 6. Number 6. Elimination Chamber 2014 for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, this was during that time. Randy Orton defending the championship against Daniel Bryan, John Cena, Christian, Cesaro, and Sheamus. Minneapolis, Minnesota. You know, Cesaro ain't had many opportunities, right? Cesaro ain't had many opportunities. This, I think, was Cesaro's only world title opportunity. And he showed he was good. God damn it, they can't put Cesaro in a title picture like this. Cesaro, going to be a Final Four participant this year. Mark it right now. Oh, wait. Well, I'm pre-recording this before the Royal Rumble, okay? I'm pre-recording. But maybe I'll be right. Cesaro was a Final Four participant. Anyway... but this was also during that time Daniel Bryan was wanting to be the world champion. The fans wanted Daniel Bryan to be the world champion. He wasn't in the Royal Rumble match, so poor Rey Mysterio got shit on by the fans. Randy Orton was, you know, walking around with both belts. They just unified them in December. John Cena, everyone was thinking he was going to get another world title run. That was a thing. Christian was just kind of there. And you had CM Punk, who had just left the company. I mean, the company was in a transition phase, trying to build some new guys while, you know, these older guys were still trying to work, but you didn't have people like the AJ Styles, so that wasn't a big thing yet. It was a weird period, and most people just wanted to get to Mania. I was one of those people. I just wanted to get to Mania. At this point, it was supposed to be Randy Orton and Batista, so a lot of people were like, we don't want that match. And a lot of people, myself included, were fools to think that that was going to happen. Now, they teased us for a second time. It came down to Randy and Daniel Bryan. And they cock-teased us once again just for Randy Orton to win the championship, or to retain the championship, and to go to Mania. It was annoying. It was annoying. But still it was a good match, right? It was enjoyable. In hindsight, I think Randy being the champion and Daniel taking the route that he did looked better on paper. You know, he finally had, you know, Hijack Raw and all this other stuff, but the match itself, it was a good match. Cesaro worked his ass off. Bryan worked his ass off. Cena worked his ass off. Orton is still a really good professional wrestler, so he looked good. I mean, who in this match probably wasn't that good? Christian, I mean, hell, even Sheamus looked good in this match, right? Like, Sheamus was in an odd place at this point. I think they were talking about Sheamus and Daniel Bryan facing each other, or Kane and Daniel Bryan facing each other again. And I think this match was supposed to help set one of those up. But history happened how it happened. I did enjoy the match, though, at this point at least. You know, at least 5 out of those 6 was, you know, championship material. Speaking of number 5. Number 5. No Way Out 2009 for the WWE Championship. Triple H defeated Edge to become the champion. The Undertaker, Jeff Hardy, Big Show, and Vladimir Kozlov. Who remembers Vladimir Kozlov? Who here remembers that man? No one? No one? I didn't think so. I remember this match because Triple H was not anyone's pick. The guy was starting a feud, or was on the verge of starting a feud with Randy Orton. Triple H was kind of taking a step back, right? Him and Shawn were still doing the DX thing, and I remember it though. From a match quality, I think it was a damn good match. You had Triple H, you had Undertaker, right? You had a Jeff Hardy who had just lost the championship, and Edge was the champion. So you had at least these four guys who were like, damn, they can get the job done, right? But then you had Vladimir, who, despite his shortcomings, tried. And then you had Big Show, which, no one likes Big Show. I agree. He was kind of meandering at the time, but you at least had these four guys who were able to carry this. Jeff looked good. Triple H looked good. And Triple H, to get that last minute victory, right? It was new champion guaranteed in this match, right? And you felt that energy, like, oh fuck, we're either getting the Undertaker to go to WrestleMania. Who was the Rumble winner? Randy Orton at that point. So Randy Orton hadn't made his decision on who he wanted to face. But you're like, oh fuck, I could get Triple H to be the champion. And I just remember, this was the match where Edge came in as the champion and he got eliminated right away by Jeff Hardy with a Sunset Schoolboy package or something like that. Forgot, but he got rolled up and he lost like within like the first minute. So you're guaranteed a new champion, and then Triple H and Jeff and Taker, they did it. So it was like either Triple H or Undertaker is going to be the champion, and you're like, oh my god, this is awesome. And this was the show opener that night, and Triple H, after battling with the Undertaker, finally hit the pedigree to become the champion. You're like, oh my god. And then he went to WrestleMania to face Randy Orton in a match that was a regular one-on-one match, even though Triple H broke into the dude's house and tried to, like, murder him. It is what it is. But at least for this match, it was like, damn, I enjoyed this. This was pretty good. That's why I think I raised it as high as I could. And remember, people, this is just my list. Y'all are welcome to move things around in your head, make your own list down in the comments below. You're more than welcome to, and I'd be happy to hear what you guys have to say. Moving on. Let's go to number 4. We're here. We are the final 5. Going to number 4. Number 4. New Year's Revolution 2005. World Heavyweight Championship on the line as former champion Randy Orton, Batista, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, and Edge challenged current champion Triple H. And this was in San Juan, Puerto Rico. This is when they were doing these early January pay-per-views. Oh, and did I mention Shawn Michaels was the referee? Damn good match. This was the first of 2 Elimination Chamber matchups at this event. They almost made this a permanent fixture. I'm glad that they didn't keep doing it. But I think this was the better of the 2. Definitely with the star power coming down to Randy and Batista. And this is where you started the tension with Batista and Triple H. Him literally wanting Batista to kind of lay down for him, do the dirty work for him. But Batista getting eliminated by Randy Orton. And him still needing Batista's help. But Randy Orton almost coming that close to winning. And then, of course, they'd go on to the Royal Rumble to have their match, which was okay. But, you had great performances from Edge. You had great performances from Benoit. Shawn being the referee. Shawn has issues with Triple H. Will he be bipartisan? Bipartisan. I shouldn't use words like that here. Would he call it down the middle? Well, we all know Shawn Michaels was never the greatest in these types of matches. But Shawn called it down the middle this time. A lot of stories going on in this, and at this point, You also had Bischoff, who was just like, hey, y'all are going to fight it out. I don't give a shit. Have fun. But this is, Bischoff was done being pushed around by Evolution. So a lot of stories happening at this point. And it was damn good, damn entertaining. I know I've said that a lot. It's like, dude, can you say anything else? No, I cannot. I will not. You can't break me. But will break me is this next one. So I'm going to move on. Just going to move on to number 3. This, to me, just with the ending, was one of the best Elimination Chambers ever. Elimination Chamber 2010, the World Heavyweight Championship Chamber match. Let's talk about this. You had Chris Jericho, champion The Undertaker, John Morrison, Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, and R-Truth. Now, yes, this didn't have a great feel, but there's a lot of things that were going on at this point. Now, Shawn Michaels, this was the A story, right? Shawn Michaels was still trying to get his rematch. He failed at the Rumble to do so. He asked The Undertaker for a rematch and was told no. So, come time for the show, Undertaker gets lit on fire during his entrance. So you got him pouring bottles of water over himself during the time. He's sitting in the pod till the end. So he's trying to keep, he's actually got, I think, 1st degree burns, like an uber bad sunburn. But he felt like he was on fire. Chris Jericho was starting a little bit of a feud with Edge, who had just won the Royal Rumble. Rey Mysterio had just challenged Undertaker for the title. A lot of things were happening. CM Punk wanted to be champion again. He was part of this whole Straight Edge Society. Probably the best version of CM Punk ever. But damn if this match wasn't good. Damn if this match wasn't entertaining. Undertaker on the verge of getting to beat Chris Jericho. Super bad burns on the walls of Jericho. Gets out, and Shawn Michaels pops up out from under the ring. Sweet chin music to The Undertaker, and he lost. Yeah, the match was not great, but the ending and how it pushed us to WrestleMania with Jericho and Edge, wrapping up that storyline, getting Shawn versus Undertaker 2, Punk going to face Rey Mysterio to make him a member of the Straight Edge Society. It was good. It was a good launching pad to WrestleMania, and it was another great example of how this match was great and useful for that purpose. And not because of who it set up to be the champion to face the challenger, but because it launched multiple stories and wrapped up others. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. But let's jump to number 2, shall we? Number 2. This is probably one that has the most heartbreaking finishes of any Elimination Chamber, but it did launch Kofi Mania. Elimination Chamber 2019 for the WWE Championship, as Daniel Bryan defended that championship against Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, and Samoa Joe. Houston, Texas, February 2019. The match was set up. It was supposed to be Mustafa Ali, or Mustafa, how does he say his name now? Mustafa Ali is how he's saying it. Mustafa Ali. But Mustafa Ali was supposed to be in this match. He got legitimately injured, was taken out, and they replaced him with Kofi Kingston, who ran a gauntlet match the Friday night before the pay-per-view, or the Tuesday night before the pay-per-view on SmackDown, to immediately be like, holy shit. And all of a sudden people are like, we want Kofi to win. And Kofi was a part of the New Day. He wasn't even sniffing the championship. But think about what this match did. Now the match, let's start there. You can tell I'm really going to be into it now. I'm on the final 2. Let's start with the match itself. First you had SmackDown. Kofi ran almost the entire second hour of SmackDown in that gauntlet to lose at the very, very end. But damn hell of a performance. So we get to the pay-per-view. Kofi's in it. AJ, legitimate contender. Samoa Joe, legitimate contender. Jeff Hardy, legitimate contender. Let me pop these names back up here real quick. Randy Orton, legitimate contender, right? And then you got the champ, Daniel Bryan, who was on his eco trip at this point. Then you had Kofi. Daniel became what he hated when he was a part of the Yes Movement. He was the guy who no one wanted to be champion. And then Kofi became the underdog. Great match this was probably the strongest field in an Elimination Chamber match ever. Other than maybe the first one and the second one. But this was the strongest field on paper for the Elimination Chamber I had ever seen. It was probably the most anticipated Elimination Chamber I had seen. Now, most people knew Daniel was going to keep the championship. But at this point in time, no one knew who Daniel was actually going to face. And then this match happened. All the eliminations happened. Joe looked good in this thing. AJ, of course, he looked good. Randy looked decent. But then we get down to Kofi and Daniel. And for a moment, just the smallest moment, it looked like Kofi was going to win. It was back and forth. Daniel was on the ropes, but last second, Daniel hits the running knee. Pins Kofi Kingston to retain his championship. It's like, oh, well, hey, Kofi had a good match. Maybe they push this to Fastlane, and we get another match. You get that visual, I'm going to pull it back up so y'all can see it again. You get this visual of Kofi sitting down with the New Day. How, they were hyping up Kofi, how he deserved this chance. 11 years he'd worked. 11 years he tried to get to this point, and he was that close. That close to winning that championship. And he lost. And then Kevin Owens ended up being inserted into the title picture at Fastlane. And they had this confusing thing at the night where Kofi was going to get the title shot, but he didn't. And it still ended up being Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens was a heel, but then he wasn't a heel. And it's like, okay, what are they doing? And then he has to run through this gauntlet. He has to run through this shit. And then New Day has to fight for him. And they finally earn him that opportunity at WrestleMania. Kofi Mania, running wild, man. It was Daniel Bryan, who was the biggest underdog in the business, now trying to suppress the new underdog in Kofi Kingston. You finally had WrestleMania, and what was legitimately the biggest WrestleMania moment, at least in the last 10 years, right? Since Daniel Bryan won the championship, it was legit happiness, legit tears when Kofi Kingston finally won that championship. Yeah, it has nothing to do with this match in particular, but this match launched us to that moment. It gave us that moment, and it was beautiful. That's why this match is number 2 for me. I can't think of anything else better. By match alone, really great chamber match. It was legitimately a really great chamber match. This was the same night we had the women's chamber for the tag titles. 2 really good chamber matches in one night. It was really that good. And it launched us to WrestleMania, and I can't think of anything better than this chamber match. Except one. Because you know the old saying, nothing beats the original. I'm talking about the 2002 Survivor Series, the first ever Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Madison Square Garden, New York City, New York. Triple H defending the World Championship against Kane, Booker T, Chris Jericho, Rob Van Dam, and Shawn Michaels, who had not competed for a championship since WrestleMania 14. The same Shawn Michaels who was only in his second match since 1998. This was huge. Shawn, coming back. God, he wore those ugly-ass tights, though. This was a fantastic match for the first ever. I talked about earlier, Raw having its counter to SmackDown's Hell in a Cell match the previous month. Triple H was starting his reign of terror. I can't speak. And then Shawn coming in to make the save. And you legitimately could have seen RVD winning this. You could have legitimately seen Kane winning this. You could have seen Booker T, maybe, the long shot. But for sure, everyone wanted Shawn Michaels to win. We got Shawn Michaels to victory. And this was one of the best Survivor Series pay-per-views ever. From top to bottom, there were no Survivor Series matchups. But you had the tables match at the beginning of the show. You had the WWE Championship with Brock versus Big Show, which actually turned out to be entertaining with the screwy finish. All titles changed hands. The triple threat match with Los Guerreros, Edge and Rey, and Benoit and Kurt Angle. This was a great pay-per-view with a great finish, with a great main event, with a great finish to that match. It was so good. RVD jumping off the top of the pod, do the frog splash, hurting Triple H's throat legitimately, him finishing the match with the crushed larynx. Not crushed, but he hurt it. It was bruised for sure. Jericho, working with Triple H. Like, Triple H starting the match, ending the match, Shawn coming in, winning. It was great. It was just great. And these men set the tone for what, I think it was 20-some-odd matchups in total. 20 of these matchups. It was great. And, even when we don't have great chamber matchups, you always look forward to the chamber because you look at what could be the possibilities. And yeah, it's changed. It doesn't feel as violent as it used to. It's bigger, more grand, more good-looking. What I liked about this was the grittiness and the unpredictability, that you just didn't know what you were going to get. But once it happened, it was like, damn, this is awesome. And it was. It was an awesome match. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I think it was great. I think it was great. And I definitely think it was more than worthy of being number one. But let me know, guys. Let me know down in the comments below. What do you think was the best Royal Rumble? What do you think was the best Elimination Chamber match? Who was your favorite winners? Do you think the chamber is overbooked? Did you think I still like it as it is? Let me know down in the comments below. Remember, if you're new to this channel, you can subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell so you get all of our videos as they come to you. I do live streams for pay-per-views. You can also go to our Twitter and our Facebook. If you don't hit the notification bell, you'll get notifications on our Facebook group or our Twitter page. Both are linked down in the description below. I'm Zach. Thank you guys so very much for coming to the channel. It's much appreciated. Remember, subscribe if you aren't already. Chamber should be fun. So, remember, stay safe, stay healthy, and above all else, join the nation. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye. Yo Bro Nation! Join us at teepublic.com/Yo Bro Nation for our all new merch lineup, like the Recess Still Ain't Old, the Yo Bro Nation Entertainment t-shirt, the Sidekick Susie Stranger Things shirt. It's a pretty sweet shirt. The Yo Bro Nation swirly shirt. How about I Love Yo Face Sidekick Susie t-shirt? Ooh. Or the Rainbow Sidekick Susie shirt. Yeah. Also, this exclusive limited time offer, we got a Forever Serenity special sale! Look at that. Isn't that pretty cool? I think it's pretty awesome. Hope for Ambi special sale. Help support a friend who really needs the help. 3 different t-shirt designs. We got the Hope for Ambi Black Angel t-shirt. The Hope for Ambi Do You Want to Beat Up Cancer t-shirt. Wow, that's pretty nice. So yes, shop with us now at teepublic.com/YoBroNation. Get all your shirts. Stay safe, stay healthy, and above else, join the nation.